Hey everybody, what's up? This is Flashstack. Welcome back to Dueling Network. This is episode 21. It's our first episode of 2016. This could be our season 2. I guess we could say that. Yeah, this is our season 2. We're gonna be dueling with the Amorphages. Now, what Amorphages are, they're a series of Earth attribute Dragon type pendulum monsters whose main abilities lock down your opponent's options, as you will see here. So now, the monster effect here isn't applicable because we normal summoned it instead of flipping it face up or pendulum summoning it. However, this monster has a pendulum effect that allows us to they can't take damage. Neither of us can take effect damage. So that's cool. Anyway, so yeah. Uh, Draw. Wow, I got all three. Standby phase. Now it was tributed to keep our card on the field. Now we're gonna add we're gonna use the effect of infection to add huh. I guess we could set the scales right now with so we add Cavum to our hand and then we'll activate on the right. I'm cool with that. Battle phase. Okay, so this guy at least knows what's going on. Anyway, I'm just gonna end my turn here. Yeah, he has 2,050 attack points. Oh, I've always hated Reckless Greed. Let's see what kind. I still don't know what kind of deck he's using. Okay, so they're forced to discard one card. Blue Eyes White Dragon. Please tell me he doesn't have. Oh, he set those cards face down now, so he can't use them yet. Standby phase. Tribute. Infection. This will allow us to add our trap card, Amorphage Lysis, to hand. Activate Amorphage Cavum. Set a card face down. Pendulum summon both of our monsters. That's okay? It's okay then. And since there's 5 Amorphage cards on the field, each of them gains 500 attack. So each of them has 2250. Okay. And I guess I'll attack again with the other one. Okay. I'll end my turn. I'll go ahead and activate Amorphage Lysis. So now all monsters on the field except Amorphage monsters lose 100 attack and defense for each Amorphage card on the field, which is currently 6. So all my monsters gain 600 attack and defense, and all theirs lose 600 attack and defense. These effects pile up really quickly. Oh, very, very clever. Very clever indeed. However, I do have a trump card of my own. See, during the standby phase, I'll tribute one and then destroy another. I've already faced a Blue Eyes deck. So now I can activate the effect of Infection and Lysis. So I'll add Amorphage Iridium to my hand. And Amorphage Gastromargia to my hand. I'll set the scale with Gastromargia, and now since it's in the scale, my opponent cannot... Wait a second! Okay, let me straighten this out. Okay, everything's taken care of. Anyway. Yeah, he could not synchro summon because I had a pendulum summoned. I can't pronounce that. Anyway, I'll special summon. Then I'll tribute these two to normal summon Iridium. Okay, and all mine gain, let's see, there's 7 cards. And theirs loses it. So let's go ahead and take care of this. Attack. And I'll attack. And then I'll end. Great thing about Iridium. And there's the win. Okay, I guess it's time for deck explanations. GG. Oh, he quit before I could do that. Anyway, onto the deck. Okay, so as you can see, when it comes to Amorphages, the most effective strategy, in my opinion, is to have every copy of every pendulum card there is. That way, there's a chance that you could set the scale, restrict your opponents easier, and then also get more monsters out so you can keep your things on the field. And even if you don't, you have 3 copies of each of the Amorphage cards, so the chances of you getting more cards during your standby phase is increased. And also got 2 ritual monsters here, Odd Eyes Gravity Dragon and Amorphages Psycho, the Vein Drake Overlord. Now, Amorphages Psycho is the easier one to get out because you just need 2 level 4 monsters, or a level 6 and a level 2. And Amorphages Psycho is the only ritual monster that can be ritual summoned with a field spell instead of a ritual spell card. And we'll get into that in a moment. However, its ability is really good. It's really worth it. It has high attack, high defense, and when you summon it, when you ritual summon it, you skip your opponent's next turn's main phase 1. And if your opponent has no monsters, or doesn't summon any, well, no, sorry, if they have no monsters, period, they can't summon it during main phase 1, and since they have no monsters, that'd be no main phase 2. I'm a battle phase, so that means they can't have main phase 2 if they don't have a battle phase. Anyway, yeah, so it's also, you negate the effects of face-up fusion, synchro, and exceeds monsters on the field. And this last effect is not useful in this deck, but it does have uses in other decks. Gravity Dragon, we'll get into that in a minute. I'm just gonna say, all of the lower level ones, level 4, level 2, have effects that when they're pendulum summoned or flip face up, your opponent cannot special summon from the extra deck. The level 6 one and the level 8 one, just being on the field means your opponent cannot special summon from the extra deck. Anyway, now we got that out of the way, we can cover their pendulum effects and get through this a lot quicker. So, neither player can activate trap cards or trap effects other than Amorphage cards and their effects. And that goes hand in hand with either Amorphage Luxuria, which neither player can activate spell cards or spell effects except Amorphage cards and their effects, or Amorphage Gastromargia, which neither player can activate monsters' effects except Amorphage monsters. So you put that together with this or this, and it's instant success. However, the main draw of this deck is the ability to lock on to your opponent's weakness and cover it. Just exploit their weakness with all they have. Like, for instance, if you're going up against an Odd Eyes deck, they revolve around monster effects. So, putting Gastromargia in it is really good. If you're going up against a Heroic Dragon, then using Orge Orge, I guess, is a good move because they cannot tribute monsters. And there's also basics like Kavum, who you cannot chain. However, honestly, I think this is one of the worst effects, and this is best as a defensive measure. Another interesting note, all Amorphage monsters have either 0 attack or 0 defense. So yeah. Let's get this done quickly. Neither player can add cards from the deck to hand except by drawing them. You do not want to keep this in your pendulum zone for long, because it interferes with the effect of Amorphage infection. Anyway, any cards sent to the graveyard banished instead. Neither player takes effect damage. We've basically gone over all of them. But yeah, basic strategies. The most basic ones are just focus in on your opponent. Try to get as many monsters out. So if you have a high level monster and 2 low level ones, you're going to want to put the high level one in the scale so you can get the lower level one out. Anyway, yeah, as I've stated, they all have effects that can only be activated, or, well, actually not activated. The effects only take place if you have a Amorphage monster on your side of the field. Also, if you don't tribute a monster during your standby phase, they will be destroyed. However, common misconception, you have to tribute one monster. I don't think that's the case. I mean, there's no official ruling out, but since there's 2 pendulum cards, I would assume that each effect is individual, meaning you have to tribute 2 monsters, which is what I've been doing. If I'm wrong, then I've just been playing the fool the entire time, and I've just been losing a bunch when testing this deck. Anyway, so we've been over the basic effects. Now, Amorphage Infection. All Amorphage monsters on the field gain 100 attack and defense for each Amorphage card on the field. So your Pendulum Zones, your monsters, and your spell and trap cards boost this attack. With the exception of the field spell, because that's not a Amorphage card, that's Amorphous. And we'll get into that in a moment. But yeah, if a monster in your hand or on your side of the field is tributed, destroyed by battle, or destroyed by a card effect, you can add 1 Amorphage card from your deck to your hand. Normally you'd use this to add a Amorphage monster with scale that you can use, or one that's high level so you can tribute cards. However, if you have enough cards, but you don't have any trap cards, I would go for adding Amorphage Lysis to your hand instead, because if you do run out of monsters, it will, even if your scale is destroyed, it will bring out 1 card to replace your pendulum scale with. And then you can use cards in your hand to fill the gap. Amorphous Persona. All Amorphage monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense twice per turn. Each time an Amorphage monster you control is tributed, immediately you draw 1 card. So, I mean, if you tribute 2 monsters at the same time, like for a tribute summon, then that's only 1 draw. However, as I said, with the 2 separate effects tributing 2 different monsters, draw. Anyway, you can banish this card from your graveyard, tribute pendulum monsters from your hand whose total levels exactly equal 8. Then special summon 1 Amorphactor Psycho, the Vaindrake Overlord from your hand after that. Odd Eyes Advent. Now, you might be wondering why I have Odd Eyes Advent and Odd Eyes Dragon in there. It's because the main reason why I only have 1 Amorphactor Psycho and 3 Amorphous Persona. Because Amorphous Persona lets you get it out from your hand. However, you can use Odd Eyes Advent to get it out from your grave. And also you can use it for Odd Eyes Gravity Dragon, who can completely take out their back row and deal them burn damage well, actually not burn damage, they have to pay 500 to activate effects. So yeah, and the 2800 attack and 2500 defense really goes well with it. And yeah, so even if you don't have any cards on your side of the field, you usually want to put 1 or 2 Odd Eyes monsters in your extra deck. Either Synchro or Fusion, because you don't want to use, if you use Xyz, you can't use them because they don't have levels, they have ranks. But yeah, so put those in for if your opponent has 2 or more monsters and you have none, you can quickly ritual summon by sending these to the grave. Pot of Riches, easy enough. Shuffle 3 pendulum monsters in your deck from your graveyard and or face up from your deck, then draw 2 cards. Simple enough. I think I've only been drawing 1 actually when I was testing this, so shows what I know. Anyway, you cannot special summon the turn you activate this effect except pendulum summoning. Well, the only cards you can special summon in this deck that aren't pendulum summon are the ritual monsters, so hey. And actually that goes really well because the effects of the monsters in the monster zone, their effects mean you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except Amorphage cards. Ritual monsters reside in your deck, meaning it's easy to get them out while keeping up your blockade on your opponent's extra deck. Amorphage Lysis, monsters on the field except Amorphage monsters lose 100 attack and defense for each Amorphage card on the field. So it's basically Amorphage Infections effect, except you reverse it. Instead of your monsters gaining 100 attack and defense for each, your opponent's monsters lose 100 attack and defense for each. So yeah, also if a card in your Pendulum Zone is destroyed, you can place one Amorphage Pendulum monster from your deck into your Pendulum Zone. You can only use that once per turn though. Extra buck, each time a card is added to your extra deck, place one spell counter on this card. You can send this card with 3 spell counters to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. And with the amount of tributing going on in this deck, all those monsters being tributing and going to the extra deck, easy counters. Now you only want to have one of these though, because you don't want to weigh down your ability to get Pendulum cards. 2 Pendulum Reborn, because the biggest flaw in the Morphage deck is the fact that the scale is 3 and 5, and there are 4 monsters who are at either level 2 or above level 5. So you got 2 level 2 monsters, level 6 and level 8. Those fall outside the Pendulum scale, because when you have a scale of 3 and 5, you can only Pendulum summon level 4, which is what 4 of the monsters here are. So half the monsters here can be Pendulum summoned, the rest cannot. Now I used to have a copy of Pendulum Shift in here, but I felt like it disrupted the balance too much. So instead I am just putting another Pendulum Reborn, and with that you can special summon 1 face-up Pendulum monster from your extra deck or 1 Pendulum monster from your graveyard. It's good, because you can get your higher level monsters out of your extra deck really quickly. And this can be used to make, so if your opponent destroys the only monster you have left, you can activate this to bring out another one, so your effects still apply. Also, you'll have cards to tribute, so your scale doesn't get completely destroyed. Anyway, that's the basics of it. I mean, be sure to experiment with this. A lot of these cards are to be coming out in actually all of these cards that say OCG on them are going to be coming out in Shining Victories, which is going to be the next booster pack to come out after Breakers of Shadow, which was just released today. Anyway, until next time, this has been Flash Stack. Until next time, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all later.